The preliminary information section gathers all the mandatory information required to properly market a property on Centris. An exclusive brokerage contract, duly signed by the seller owner and the listing broker or his or her representative, is required to list a property on Centris. When you create a new listing, your name will automatically be linked to it. If there's more than one listing broker on the brokerage contract, you can add others by clicking on the green plus sign. A window will open to search for the broker's name by typing the first characters of his or her first or last name. These brokers can sometimes belong to different real estate boards, in which case you should remember to uncheck the box "Only members of my real estate board." Once the search results are displayed, simply click on the name to select it. The green plus sign on the rightmost side of the display allows you to have up to 4 listing brokers, while the red X will delete the selection. If you are an agency director, it is normal that your name is not automatically associated to the listing. You or your administrative personnel will have to broker load the listing in the name of your agency's broker by clicking on the green plus to add him or her. In the notice of disclosure, there is a direct interest if the listing broker is a party to the transaction, whereas there is an indirect interest if a close relation of said listing broker is a party, such as a parent, a spouse, a company in which the listing broker owns a significant portion of the shares, for example. When in doubt, for either of these situations, it is always safest to disclose. The brokerage contract number for the sale or rental of a property is the number located in the bottom right of any mandatory form of the Organisme d'autoréglementation du courtage immobilier du Québec. The brokerage contract number Other, English and French, is provided to enter the contract number coming from a financial institution, a bailiff, or from a commercial contract, for example, and which is not issued by the OACIQ. The description must mandatorily be entered in French, and if any information is entered in the English field, it must have the same meaning as the French one present. The property type must be selected from the following options: bungalow, 2 or more stories, split level, 1.5 story, or mobile home. The building's distinctive features field is used if the property is intergenerational or seasonal. Intergenerational applies when there is a dwelling allowing the cohabitation of parents and children. Seasonal applies if the property is not accessible year-round. For example, a property without heating installation. In the building type, you have to select among detached, semi-detached, attached, attached corner unit, or quadrex options. The posted sale price you enter in this field must always be exclusive of GST and QST. If it is a new construction, you can check the plus GST QST box, and in this case, you will also need to complete the total price, including the taxes, but minus any reimbursement if applicable. The rental price can be based on a per week, per month, or yearly basis. The same thing applies for the duration of the lease. The date on which you sign the brokerage contract, as well as its expiration date, must be entered in the fields provided. Please note that you have 5 days from the date of the brokerage contract signature to submit your fully broker-loaded listing, and that, in order to be listed on the Centris system, the minimal length of said contract must be 60 days or more. When a promise to purchase or to lease is accepted with conditions, the broker can choose to indicate on the description sheet the date by which all conditions are expected to have been fulfilled. For example, if the condition with the longest delay is the inspection, you indicate the deadline for this condition. If you opt to publish this date, make sure to use the date of the latest deadline. Note that it is not mandatory to publish a CPP, but it is highly recommended. The clause of first refusal, commonly termed the 72-hour clause, indicates that a promise to purchase has been accepted, but that it is conditional upon the sale of the buyer's own property. This clause allows a seller to keep the property on the market, reserving the buyer a right of first refusal, while preventing the seller from losing this first buyer without knowing if a second buyer will fulfill all his or her own conditions. It is important to enter the deadline for the fulfillment of all conditions in a case where there is a right of first refusal. The compensation to the selling broker, which is offered by the listing broker for the sale of real estate property, must be entered as a percentage or a fixed amount exclusive of GST/QST. For example, 2.5% or $15,000. The compensation to the selling broker, which is offered by the listing broker for the rental of real estate property, must be entered as a percentage, a fixed amount, or as a multiple of the monthly rent exclusive of GST/QST. For example, 1 for 1 month or 0.5 for half a month. If there exists a condition which could affect in any way the rights of a collaborating broker, such as a seller reserving the right to sell his property himself despite having signed a brokerage contract, you must check yes under the broker's declaration. Publication on internet indicates whether or not the seller accepts to having his or her property published on different websites accessible to the public, such as centris.ca or realtor.ca. For more information on the remaining fields of this section, you can refer at any time to the real estate glossary. Do not forget to click on the blue diskette icon to save your input or modifications. If the listing status is incomplete, remember that it will be temporarily saved for a maximum of 5 days from the time it was first saved. However, if you have finished entering the property data, click on the green check mark to submit your listing.